Well, I think at this point, justice is fairly fixed in the next development agenda because the goals that were articulated in the open working group outcome document, which included 17 goals and 169 targets, seems to be the basis for the next development agenda. There seems to be consensus amongst all of the member states in New York that those 17 goals are going to be the goals that are contained in the next agenda, and goal 16 does relate to justice. So unless something traumatic doesn't happens, which it can happen in New York. Things can be upended very quickly, and heads of state might come in at the end of the day and say, we don't like this, in which case the whole thing goes crazy. But if that doesn't happen, then I think we know what the goals are going to be, and goal 16 does relate to justice, and therefore it's in there. The entire package of the agenda, which includes a declaration, it includes the Sustainable Development Goals themselves, it includes a section on how we implement these goals, and it includes a section on accountability and monitoring. All of that is a package that will be decided upon really before September through these negotiations that are happening now. What happens in September is at the UN summit, these goals will be adopted by consensus by the member states. I think we will know before September if there are serious problems.
And just briefly, what do you think South Africa's position is on justice as a developmental goal?
South Africa is now saying the right things about human rights and justice as being integral to sustainable development. So on a conceptual level, I think the South African ambassador in New York is on board. However, at the practical level, if South Africa, particularly as the chair of the G77 and representing the voices of the G77, doesn't feel like the agenda, which includes justice, is going to be sufficiently supported and financed by developed countries, then I think we may have a problem, and South Africa, either unilaterally or speaking for the G77, may change its position and say, all of this, including justice, is simply too expensive for us to implement. I think that what we have to do is at the national level, we have to plan as activists and lawyers and civil society actors, we have to plan for how we're going to hold our governments accountable to the promises that they make that are contained in these goals and targets, whether or not there's a global accountability mechanism. We have to be prepared to, at the national level, meet with our governments, make demands of them, put pressure on them in a sustained fashion, whether or not there's an agreed global mechanism, because the global accountability piece of this agenda is controversial right now, and a number of countries, including Brazil, have said, we don't want a global accountability mechanism. We are accountable to our citizens at the national level. So we need to take that seriously, and we need to take those governments at their word and hold them accountable nationally, regardless of what happens at the UN.